Hello everybody, welcome to Friday, and we are at it again with a little bit of painting today, so make my hair look terrible. It'll be fine. Right, I assume everyone can hear me, everything looks like it's good. I'll turn the theme music down a little bit, because we've got a little bit of happy jerky music today, so. I've still not looked at the Funko Pop Abrams, I do apologise. I have been flat to the board for the last couple of weeks now. As you can see guys, we are playing with some Great War minis today. This is Battlefront Miniatures 15mm stuff. Oh nice, you're at Adepticon. I'm quite comfortable sitting in my little box. So, as you can see, I have these three tanks built, but I don't have them primed yet, so that is my first port of call today to actually get them primed. So, as usual, I'll be airbrush priming them with my my Stynel Res stuff. I'll be using a black and a white primer, black for the undercoat, white for the shading, pre-shading, and then we'll be putting down a layer of paint on top of that. So, how is everybody today? I hope you're all well. I need to make sure my airbrush is actually ready to go here because it seems a bit stiff. Building tanks at work. Alright, we'll not tell anybody. It's been a few days since I've used the airbrush, and if you don't clean it out quite right, then the action becomes very difficult to manage, so I'll stick some cleaner in it. Yeah, pop by the Battlefront stand and tell them that I've sent you straight from livestream. Oh, I see what's happening. The actual needle's not coming out. Do usually need a pair of pliers to do this. Oh no. Alright. Clean the needle off. He really loves turbine engines. I think even Battlefront knows by now I'm not a fan of that. Although maybe the American team don't. Maybe the American team don't like me. Oh, nice, Tuffy. 8 chieftains. It's the way to go. I have 14, I think. 14 or 15 of them. They didn't do well against 5 Abrams, I'll tell you that much, when I did actually get a game with the Brits. Alright, let's actually manage to start getting some paint down on stuff. So what I'm going to do, because these are resin miniatures, I have given them a wash in warm water and soap, and I'm going to give them a few layers of the primer, because this primer is actually quite adhesive, so we'll go at it and see what happens. Hello Marcus, hello Amanda. That's a point guys, actually, from last week, from last week, I do have the Noise Marine in with me. He is finished apart from some basing material. So I will show you him after my little break at 2 PM. Right, let's get to priming then. We'll start with the Mk4, I think. Always love the look of the Mk4. maybe lower my pressure down a bit too. Okay. Yeah, the Mark 5s are actually a bit longer, or they should be a bit longer. Yeah, sorry, it's a Mark 4. I have a Mark 5 and a Whippet, and these are 1/100 scale. These are for Flames of War Great War, or Battlefront's Great War game. I wonder if Phil Yates is actually at Adepticon. Not sure. Yes, there is something coming for Great War soon. Freddie has actually just left after a session of filming with me, so you'll start to see this stuff coming out very soon. Oh, the Whippet! Yeah, the Whippet is actually quite a big tank. I don't know anything about the eBay store stuff. If Phil Yates is still there, can you ask him if he's still annoyed at me for breaking tanks when we did our first Let's Play on it? Alright, leave that one to dry. Let's get the Mark 5 in. The primer I'm using is Steinelres. Just says it's a water-based acrylic polyurethane easy application surface primer. Good for through an airbrush. Maybe I'll prime the middle bits first. If you want a game of Team Yankee, we'll certainly try it. I'll throw my Brits at you and see how badly I do. Well, come on, guys. I mean, if I can make it look easy, it's easy for anybody. Once you've got a little bit of experience playing with airbrush, yeah, as Manda says, it is pretty easy. It's also incredibly satisfying to do. And let's have a go at the whippet. Once that layer of primer is dry, we'll get underneath that one properly. There's one problem with airbrush priming is that there will be a lot of dust in the air. And if using a thinner, that dust usually has some sort of chemical in it, which makes it kind of unattractive to breathe. Right, now I'm sure we've missed a fair bit on this guy, so... Yeah, I'm so under the tracks and stuff. Yeah, hold my breath. Hello, Lozzie. I mean, sorry, hello, Lozzie, you alright? Tell me to not breathe. And just give it another spray over just for good measure. Yeah, or use a paint booth with an extractor, which we have, but the extractor just doesn't go anywhere. The whippet should be dry enough to handle. Yep. Okay, that will do for the black. Let's get them out of the way. Let's clean the airbrush out.
Okay, here she comes, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes Johnny.
Thanks, Manda.
Look out, guys. Shake that thing. Oh, sway those paws in the air. Spin around like Fred Astaire. Slip me, fight if we can jive. That's Geraldine's routine. Lift those puppies off the ground. Swing those hips and shake them down. It's rag, it's snazzy jazz. It's Geraldine's routine. Sway those paws in the air. Spin around like Fred Astaire. Slip me, fight if we can jive. That's Geraldine's routine. Lift those puppies off the ground. Swing those hips and shake them down. Let's hump, let's jump, let's stomp, let's move. It's Geraldine's routine.
Alright. Hello, Half Mile Duck. An interesting name, to say the least. Where did I just put that piece of paper that I was cleaning with? Get another one. Yeah, ask Phil if he reminds me, or if he remembers me breaking tanks for him. He'll probably be like, ha 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 ha, screw that guy. Alright. Onto some white paint. I'm going to keep using primer in this case. So again, another style res, just the big white bottle. Shouldn't need as much of it. Okay, let's see how well this won't work. So we want to obviously pre-shade this a bit, but I'm going to try and pick out the panels a bit more. Come on. That could work. Yeah, I think that could work. Alright, let's try for the panels then, on the side. I'm not thinning the primer this time, so you've got to check the needle every so often because it'll start to gum up. Right now, Crisp, I'm not using any thinner. So that's what the pre-shade's gonna look like, which is kind of funky looking. I think once you have a bit of brown down on that, that'll look quite cool. Right, onto the other side. See what I mean about having to check the nozzle where nothing's happening? So, when you take the nozzle off the brush, you see the pin and sometimes there'll be a load of paint just gathered up on the end of the needle, so you gotta check that, especially when you're not running with thinners or flow improver. I've noticed there's a little bit of water coming out from where the model was cleaned. Whoops. Come on. Try I didn't do the back of the... Let's try that off a bit. See if I can show you this a bit more clearly now, without tipping the thing over, so you can see the lump of white paint that's forming on the nozzle. So if I was to add flow improver, which slows the rate of drying down on the paint, it probably wouldn't do that as much, and then a bit of thinner as well would help. Why? Now the nose won't go back on. Very strange. Come on. Right, so that's one tank pre-shaded. What would you like me to do, guys? Do you want me just to continue with this one, or push on and do the other two as well? Let me know in the chat there. And yeah, Lozzie, it's a lot of fun to do. It looks cool when it's done. fact, we'll do the Mk4 and we'll do the Whippet, because the Mk5 is so similar in aesthetic. So we'll do 2 tanks, but we'll make them look a bit more unique, or take the 2 unique shapes. Hello, T-Laugh. Was that me or the tank looking sexy, huh? Don't even answer that. Right, so how are we going to approach the Whippet? Paint's getting a little thick.
On the Milky Way, who she was I cannot say. I only knew I wanted to stay. Together we spent night and day. We used to fly through summer trees. The air was full of blossom breeze. When others taste the smell. How many stories does it tell? Hey, my little honeybee. Honeybee, far away that's hurting you. Honeybee, I see darling far away.
So here's the what needle size am I using? It's a I think it's a 0.4 or 0.5. No, it's not. Is it a 0.3? I think it's a 3.3. Okay, I am actually going to add a little bit of flow improver, because the primer's starting to dry in the cup, and I really don't want that because it's now making it more difficult. Alright, let's see if that helps or ruins. That helps. Really? There we go. Immediately breaks. Yeah. Okay, so for the track sections, I'm not appreciating the top of the tracks. I want them to be kind of dull. So we're just gonna do a typical sort of bit of work along here. I think that would probably do for the side of the Whippet, because there's not as many panel lines and stuff to play with. Alright, to be honest, that's all the appreciating I want to do. I think that looks pretty decent as it is.
I wonder what you got, you rascal, you. I wonder what you got, you rascal, you. I wonder what you got. Makes my wife think you so hot.
So that has taken half an hour. But it would be alright if you were doing a big batch of them or something. Just gotta make sure I've got all the white paint out of the cup of the airbrush before we push on. Because the next colour is going to be a brown, which is obviously our base coat. Because most of these tanks were sort of a brown colour. After they realised that painting camouflage on something that generally got caked in mud was a bit superfluous. I keep putting down the pieces of tissue paper that I need for the airbrush and I keep forgetting where I put them. Or put them just out of reach. Everything still working? I think everything's still working. Seems alright. Right. Bring our two tanky tanks back in. So now that they're both appreciated and looking kinda different. We need to get a brown and then thin it right down and put it through the airbrush. So what I'm going to be using is Army Painter's Leather Brown because it's kinda more or less the colour I can, based on what I've seen, it's more or less the right colour. And of course trying to use the paints in here to do historical stuff's a bit more difficult when they're giving you names like Leather Brown and all this sort of different stuff. It's kind of a ready clay brown that these tanks were painted in, so... So this needs a fair bit of thinner and a little bit of flow improver as well. Probably a bit more thinner. Maybe that's a bit too much of everything now, but that's okay. Maybe tea leaf, maybe. Alright, so the mixture of brown I made is just not thin enough, I've noticed. Nowhere near thin enough, I may as well just paint a big thick coat of it. Yeah, that might be thin enough now. Either that or it's completely rubbish and it just won't work at all. Who knows? It's not like I know what I'm doing. Let's see what it looks like on the table first. Yeah, it should be alright. So we're trying to do several, maybe one or two light passes. Alright. That is not bad. I'm happy with that. So let's push on. Right. Side. Okay, so you can see now what the pre-shade is doing for the model. You've got those panel lines that are still nice and dark, but the panel centers have the proper color on them essentially. And I think that's turning out pretty well. It's nice and subtle, but you know, even from a distance, it gives the tank a little bit of definition. I'm gonna add a bit more around the back here. I forgot about the back doors on the sponsons. Alright, so let's move the Mk4 out of the way. Let's tackle the whippet. I'll turn the mic down if you want. This current paint is Army Paint or Leather Brown, but Crisp, if you want to listen to the ratios, it's about 1 part this, 1 part Flow Improver, 2 parts thinner, possibly even 3 parts thinner. It's a very thin mix, and then stirred vigorously before put through the airbrush. Yeah, the Army Painter stuff does take a bit of time or a bit of effort to thin down. And not a problem, dude. Honestly, I'm not sure if it's right to paint a whippet in the brown or if it should actually have been green. Oh well. It's this one's going brown. Right, I think that'll do. So there's our whippet and our Mk4, all pre-shaded and base coated. So, pretty happy with how those have turned out. Now, yeah. That's the bonus. Everyone knows when I've been painting at home because I walk home with like that on a hand, and everyone keeps saying, "Why don't you wear gloves?" Because I hate wearing gloves. Just hate the feel of them. So, clean out the airbrush. By the time that's done, these should all be completely dry and settled. So. Because when they are, we're going to be adding some more colours. Nail polish rival. Yeah, nothing rivals your nails, Leslie. We'll be starting to add some transfers and the typical red and white markings on the front of the tanks. So we'll be doing that once I have this all done. From resin models, Crisp if you're in the UK, Dettol if you have that. Sort of the antiseptic fluid. It works wonders put down neat, or the resin model needs to be kind of steeped in it. I did airbrush the noise marine. I was just more careful with it. USA. I think simple green. I'm not sure if Simple Green does it or not. I'm honestly not sure about resin miniatures. Too much. Yeah, if those of you that are in the UK are trying to strip paint off models, that all neat, the brown antiseptic liquid. Move this out of the way somewhere. Pardon me. I'll keep some cleaner in the airbrush for a while. Never liked using power spray. It annoyed me for some reason. Right, these should be dry enough. So yeah. Let's look at adding some transfers. I think we're going to try and keep it fairly simple. Actually, before we add transfers, let's give the two models a little coat of matte varnish, or possibly even a gloss varnish. Do I have some gloss varnish hanging about? Actually, no, screw it. Be fine. No, it won't be fine. We've tried it before. It won't be fine. I have some matte varnish. I know I have a gloss sitting around somewhere. Satin will do. So we'll do a quick dash of this with the airbrush. And the reason we're doing this is because sometimes the activator that I'm using for transfers, which is Microsol, can reactivate the paint, and I really don't want that to happen. It's happened to me before and it's kind of annoyed me, so So what we'll do is put the satin varnish down, have ourselves a little break, and then we'll come back and start applying transfers to the Whippet and to the Mk4, and then we can start putting the red stripy stripes on them. I can't tell if this is okay or not. Nope, that is lumpy as hell. Wonder what's wrong with that. Alright, it's gonna be matte varnish then. This stuff is completely like congealed, like actually congealed. Then again, it's not exactly a new bottle of anything, it is years old now, this stuff. Never mind, we will just use some matte varnish. And I should have some sitting... should have some army painter stuff sitting nearby. Wherever the heck it went. That's it. So you guys using airbrushes, if you want a matte varnish that goes down without frosting and goes down without any what's the word? Goes down without any thinning needed through an airbrush, through an airbrush, the army painter stuff's the way to go. The bottled stuff. Sorry, I'm working as quick as I can here to get the airbrush ready after having cleaner lying in it. Alright. So, anti-shine matte varnish, we're putting it into my airbrush unthinned. Because the way this comes out is perfect, so I don't thin it or anything. I feel like if I know it's working without any thinner or flow improver, I'll just leave it to do its thing as is. Now, a word to the wise as well, if you're gonna do this and spray it down neat onto a model, then be prepared to either wait a while or hit it with a hairdryer, because it does sit tacky for a while. This also has given me a chance just to put down a layer to protect what we've already done, so that any washes and stuff applied over the top of this won't tint our base color. Which is something else I really should do a lot more often in my painting. Just make sure to give it a coat of varnish before moving on and adding anything else to it. But yes, the anti-shine is probably one of the best. I mean, everyone keeps telling me that Tester's aerosol is great. I'm just gonna hit a little reality check. Not everyone can get Testers, and Testers is it's okay priced. It's still kind of expensive, to be honest with you. If you're going to put a matte varnish through an airbrush, Army Painter. If you're going to aerosol a matte varnish, Games Workshop's Munitorium Seal. They're both perfect. They both act exactly like you want them to. They don't do any silly stuff. Yes, they do need to make it in like 200ml bottles. That would be great. A bottle this, like this. This is 400ml. Bought I think 2 years ago now we started using this stuff. And those are still the original bottles. Right, I'm going to have a few minutes to clear my lungs out, put the extractor fan on, and when we come back, we'll start applying transfers and see how we can get the little red and white stripes down. So I will be back in a few minutes. We're back. Are these dry? Not quite. No, not quite. So gonna hit it with a hair dryer for a couple of minutes. So I'm just gonna mute the mic while that noise is going on. Alright, so let's get on to doing some markings. So we have a little transfer sheet which has some Mk4 and Whippet stuff. So I'm thinking of taking C42, I think. Yeah, C42 for the Mk4. And put the wee number and stuff on that. I need to double check my markings layout. So, sorry, I'm on Google stuff, Google Image here at the minute, just checking a few things out. Alright, that should be fine. So, all good. So let's cut these out. We'll do the Mk4 first. So, not sure where the third number goes. It probably goes on the back. Not honestly sure. Or does it go in the front? I think it might go in the front. Someone quickly want to check and see where the markings go on a Mk4. See if it's one either side and on the front or on the back. So C42, what number is C42 on the 8603? Do I have 8603? I have 8403. Wonder if the third number is just a spare. So the red and white striping comes back to here, just in front of this second line on the turret. But this the C42 sort of sits along level here, so it's sort of level with the gun mount. So let's take our little piece of paper and I'm going to dip it into some water. Hopefully the water's clean enough, not that it matters too much. And then the little tank numbers. I know that the third tank number goes on the front. I wasn't sure if C42 went on there as well, so. Now we're going to use some microsol for this. This fancy stuff here. And the way we want to use it is in the areas you're going to place the transfer. You take a little bit of microsol on a brush and just dampen that area a little. And I think the tank number is going to go down here. Need to make sure I don't spill it because I'm notorious for spilling microsol. So C42, the first one is ready to apply. It's a very thin film it's made of, so I have it on the end of my knife. So we're going to apply it across here. Maybe drag it out a little bit. And when it's applied, then do a little bit more microsol and put it over the top of the film. Take our tank number, and just, I think it's about there. That'll do for that. Let it settle on this one a little bit, maybe add a little bit more microsol to it. And try not to squish the transfer up a bit. Because at this point, the microsol has essentially turned the film of the transfer into a mush, so you've got to be very careful when you're moving stuff around once you've applied it. Down and then get the other tank number. I need to put some microsol on that area first. About there. Let's get a little bit more on that. Okay, and the music stopped for me for some reason, but I still see it playing. That's okay. Means it's on repeat. So that's getting there. That should settle down okay. Like that. So, that's our transfers down. I'm not really going to add any more than those two, I think. So we'll move that to the side and we'll look at what we need to do on the whippet. Hopefully the whippet doesn't need too much. I think it's basically like a name if you want to, and a couple of numbers, which is alright. So, and you can't really see them. So A277 will be your tank number. And I think for a name, which is probably, the name I think goes on the front, like right up here, I think. Let's call it Carwick, because it's a small little detail. that'll draw your eye in. Gosh, that's ridiculously small. Okay. Let's dip these into some water. You're all quiet again, guys. If you have any questions or anything you want to say or ask, please go ahead. Try and keep the conversation going. I'm so lonely in here. Right. So the areas on the whippet we want to put the transfers. So across the front I'm going to put the name. Yes, Lozzie, you're doing your nails, that's okay. You're excused, and we're going to put the tank number. The tank numbers are quite short, so we'll sit in there, and then here on the other side. I think, which is actually a very good question, Lozzie. I think it comes from the whole British Landship Committee. So when they were thinking about marking them up and stuff like that, it basically went down naval route. So they started to add names to them that way. Okay, John, 101 reasons John likes the turbine engine. Well, reason 1 is nothing. Yeah, actually naming individual tanks, not the tank type. Didn't put one in the top 2. Yeah, I know. Do the plastic kit. In fact, sell the metal kit. You don't need it. Plastic kit all the way. So, let's try and put this name on. Oh, why did I do this to myself?
I mean, you wouldn't want things to get dreary, would you? So just to keep everybody awake, sort of, I asked a couple of the boys in the band.
Oh my god, come on. Ah. That is so awkward. I need to fix this. Dropping it into the water. Right. Slide it onto the knife. We're trying to name the whippet. Call it Krawick, apparently. Right. And then a little bit more microsol on top of it. That should do the trick. Then we have 2 tank numbers to place. If my finger would stop sticking to the transfer sheet. Oh my god. Come oh dear. Right, I folded the transfer over on itself. And now I'm trying to unfold it. Haha, success. And now I'm trying to slide it onto my knife. Oh, quick. Before it folds over in itself again. Yes. Ha! You shall not defeat me. Metal kit for a paperweight, yes. Let's get the second one. Okay. That was all too stressful. All far too stressful. Okay, now, is the Microsol lifting the paint? It's lifting. The Microsol is actually lifting the matte varnish, so yeah. Oh well. That's fine, let's see what the Mark IV looks like now. Not bad. A little bit crumply in places, so I'm just going to give it another coat of Microsol. And then dab the brush onto the transfer to help stretch it out again, because it seems to want to concertina up a little bit. I don't blame it because it's trying to rest over rivets. Okay, well the rest of them are down fine, so wash this brush off. That's the feeling when you get the transfers down. It's dab on them transfers. Right. Onward, we are going to start doing the striping. And the striping is a pain. But it's there, so it has to be put on. So. For the striping, we are going to first use a light grey to mark out the areas. In this case, I'm using an old Citadel Fortress Grey, which doesn't exist anymore. It's basically Administratum Grey now. But it's a good light grey to paint down in the area first, and then we can paint the white over it, and then paint it red. So we say that it goes from a straight line just in front of this second row of rivets, and then it's divided into three. So, and it also avoids the top row of rivets and the bottom row. Take it from here and draw a kinda straight line. I'm not holding this in the best position to make it comfortable for myself though, so I need to get my whole arm onto the table, which means I have to move tons of stuff that I don't want to move. So for simplicity's sake, we'll just follow that line of rivets, which I haven't done a very good job of doing yet. Painting on Twitch that's not 40k. Hello, Relic. Right, so that's the first area lined out. Let's do that again on the other side. This side should be a little easier because I'm not having to reach over details of the model to do it. And there also isn't a casting mistake on it here, so this is actually going to be a little tidier. And I've just broke a gun barrel off. Sweet. RIP machine gun. Happens. It happens when you're working with such small stuff. Okay, that's the two areas where the striping's going to be put down. Good job, Tuffy. I will have a look. Have you started a project for it? Like a specific Team Yankee British one? I can look out for that this afternoon. I'm going to ask you a very tanky question though, Tuffy. Is it does the Chieftain have Stillbury on it or not? Do you know what Stillbury is? Well, you should do because it says in the instruction sheet. So while this paint's drying, I'm going to reattach our lost machine gun. And hope that it stays. Oh, what game? This is for Battlefront Miniatures, or from Battlefront Miniatures for their Great War game, 15mm stuff. So basically, if you know what Flames of War is, or Team Yankee, this is the First World War version of it. Thank you, Lozzie. Keeping me right in the chat. Thank you. So, I think this is probably dry enough. So let's get a little bit of matte white down then. And for this I'm just using the Army Painter white. Again, it's not the worst paint in the world, it's an easy enough one to get your hands on, so the quality's good. Oh, that's actually a good little way to go about it, Tuffy. Use your command. I put the Stillbury on the command vehicles. This is always the part I hate. Always putting white onto something. It's so annoying. Ah well. It doesn't need to be perfect. That's it, I'll take a couple of coats just to get over the grey correctly. Or maybe make the paint a bit thinner. It's on the weekender thread. Okay. Yeah, Stillbury, for those of you that don't know, is a type of composite armor put onto the front hull, or the front turret of a chieftain, a British chieftain main battle tank. I think, to be honest, it was actually just a big slab of concrete. Alright, so that's one layer of white down. That'll not be too bad. 2 layers, 2 thin coats. To quote Duncan. 2 thin coats. I don't think this grey's dry enough yet to put the white down on. Yeah. And I don't want to hit it with a hairdryer while the transfers are still setting. Otherwise they might just scrumple up on me. It's a bit of a pain. I probably should put these on the whippet as well, but eh. I have not seen your battle droid yet, Manda. Or do I just want to use the hairdryer just to speed it up a bit? I think I should. In all honesty. Well, no time like the present to mess up. Let's try it. Yeah, that's fine. I haven't broken anything either, which is great. So let's try again. Oh my god, I just remembered. I promised to show you guys the noise marine from last week. They weren't the droids I was looking for.
They came from Italy many years ago. One night he met young Geraldine, a dame from out of town. When Geraldine was dancing, she would bring the ballroom down. Wave those paws in the air, spin around.
That's the careful first coat on. Let's see if we can get a second coat on this side.
Lift those puppies off the ground, swing those hips, shake them down. It's rag, it's razz, it's snazzy jazz. It's Geraldine's routine. Wave those paws in the air. That's Geraldine's routine. Lift those puppies off the ground, swing those hips and shake them down. Let's hump, let's jump, let's stumpity bump.
I think, to be honest, the 2 coats will do. I don't really want to be spending the rest of the stream just painting white, so because we have red to go yet. Oh, goodness me.
Mama was a stripper, so was Geraldine. She learned a strip on Mardi Gras way down in New Orleans. Now Romeo was wacky, he was dizzy for this dame. He learned a dance and got the chance to be Geraldine's new flame. Wave those paws in the air, spin around like Fred Astaire. Slip me fight if we can jive. That's Geraldine's routine. Lift those puppies
I actually found Vallejo did a foundation white. Yes, that counts as hobby painting, Lozzie. And the Vallejo foundation white was actually quite good. It only took 2 coats instead of 4. So. Lozzie, you'll have to start a project on the main site for all the different types of nail painting you do.
Okay, here she comes, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes Johnny. Look out,
I know this is a bit premature for a second coat,
shake
but
that thing.
gosh darn it, I just want to have this colour behind me so I can move on to more interesting parts. Sounds good, can't wait to see them in a couple of hours. Oh, pardon me. Right, these are pretty much done, so I'm going to mute again and hit it with the hairdryer. So. Let's see. They're probably dry enough. Now I can look at my reference image to see where the red stripe comes in. And it is... Okay, so it's pretty much entirely on. Okay. Red! And for red, we're going to be using Dragon Red because I just love the colour. I think it's a nice rich red. It shows up super well. And the location for it is basically I'll do it on the other side because it's less awkward to hold it there. No, it is actually more awkward to hold it there. It's less awkward on this side. So the red starts here. That should be a bit more than that, it should be down here. Kind of bifurcates the track adjuster and then comes down to about there. Actually going to give it a bit more and take it to the rivet line. Okay, so that's more or less where the stripe should be. Boy, I held my breath way too long for that. So that'll need a second coat too. And I really wish this friggin' camera mount wasn't in my way, so what I am actually going to do is I'm going to move the arm over, I think to about there, and then nope, not do that. Okay, so yeah, not do that. Tighten it, it goes the other way. Oh, I hope Lance sees that and keeps it for an outtake or something. Right. So, rivet one. So, bifurcating the track adjuster. Put there and back to the rivets. Alright, that's more or less the stripe. The speed kind of looks equal to what the other side is. So that'll probably do. That looks okay. Would you believe my mic actually turned off because there's no sound coming back to me from something? So I am going to have to put some music on. Actually no, I'm going to play it via something else. Color, yeah, it's they are a really cool army. It's just trying to figure out what combination you want, as you say. I wonder how transfers there. Let's say it's all right. Right then. I'm going to set the whip aside for now and just see how far we can get with the Mark IV in the next like 25 minutes or 20 minutes. So, I want to base coat the tracks. I want to make them nice and dark. So I'm going to go with a oak brown if there's anything left in this bottle. It feels a little empty, so there might be enough. Yeah, there's enough. Mechanical standard grey. Well, rich coloured blues go really well with grey. like that Mordian, that proper Mordian like dress uniform blue that they have.
I met her on the Milky Way. Who she was, I cannot say. I only knew I wanted to stay. Together we spent night and day. We used to fly through summer trees. The air was full of blossom breeze. Deep in Howler's tasty smell. How many stories does it tell?
I wish there was just an easier way to paint these tracks.
Little honeybee. Honeybee, you far away, that's hurting me.
I'm just gonna run this paint quite thin now,
Darling, far away.
because it'll the tracks will get a dry brush and weathering and stuff anyway. So.
Je me trouve en plein hiver, de l'autre côté de la terre. J'ai trop froid sans ta chaleur, j'en ai besoin pour mon bonheur. En pleurant, je compte les jours comme tu me manques, mon amour. Bientôt on fera des voyages dans le ciel sur les nuages.
Hey, my little honeybee. Honeybee, you far away, that's hurting me. Hurting me, I miss you, darling, far away. You won't sweet smile this summer day.
A real proper tank. Yeah, a good old Mark IV.
Time to leave to say goodbye. Please, so darling,
So,
don't describe.
do I just go on and paint the other track, and then that's going to be it for the day, basically.
Feeding every day since we had say farewell.
It always annoys me that I always want to show like a completed piece at the end of a stream, and I'm like, I've always tried too hard to like complete something, and then I never end up doing that. And I wish we could make the streams longer, because we could make the streams longer, even 3-4 hours, but would any of you watch this for 4 hours? Or would I just be talking to myself all afternoon?
wonder what you got, you rascal, you. I wonder what you got, you rascal, you. I wonder what you got, makes my wife think you so hot. And I wonder what you got, you rascal, you.
Yeah, I talk to myself all the time. Sometimes Lozzie thinks I'm talking to her. I'm actually talking to myself. She'll have heard that now. That'll be all my brownie points gone for the next month. Hey, Sundancer.
I'm gonna cut your ears off to you, rascal. I'm gonna cut your ears off to you, rascal, you. I'm gonna cut your ears off to you, and something else that belongs to you. I'm gonna cut your ears off to you, rascal, you. I'll be glad when you dead, you rascal, you. I'll be glad when you dead, you rascal, you. I don't think I'm telling no story, 'cause if I don't see this glory, I'll be glad when you're gone, you rascal, you.
It's pain. It's pain, Sundancer. Yeah, I was wondering about the lack of tank-related innuendo too, and now we understand why. So that's pretty much as far as we're going to get today on the Mk4. I don't think we've done too badly, all things considered. I usually start these streams with something already primed and appreciated, but I kind of ran out of time because I was building this before the stream, and do you know what? I think it was worth showing you the appreciating being done anyway. So what I will do right now is take a drink, and then I will go and grab the noise marine for you guys to look at, just while the tracks of this thing are drying, just in case we can get another step in before we're done. Right, move this beauty out of the way. And are you prepared for all the noise marine goodness? So that's the results after I took the noise marine home with me and found some chrome paint and did him, finished him off. So I think he turned out alright. After he got a couple of airbrush layers of anti-shine, I think he really came into his own. Like the way that is shading down the shoulder really makes me happy, to the point I didn't want to put any transfers on it. So I think he's nice, even nice and angry looking with like the blue eye lenses and stuff. So I'm happy with it. I'm very happy with it. We just need to put a bit of basing material down on him, and then he's good. So that's the result from last week's live stream. I think honestly I would like to try and see if I can make these streams longer. I think even an extra hour would give us a better opportunity to actually get something a bit closer to being finished, or something I can happily show you at the end of the stream and go, this is what we achieved in 3 hours, you know. So, but I don't know how that's going to work out, because there's tons of other things that happen in the office on a Friday, so I'm unfortunately involved in some of them at least. So anyway guys, I am going to cut it short for today. I'm going to let this tank dry as it is, and then do a bit more tinkering with it off camera, and maybe we'll do this again next week when I show you the finished piece towards the end of the stream. I'm going to have a chat with a few people and see what we can do about painting streams, and see if there's any way we can make them a bit longer or something like that. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. The tank is dry after the next try. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in today, guys. It's been a good fun one. I really seriously enjoyed putting the pre-shade onto this tank. I think it's turned out pretty well. So when it's actually finished and it's all weathered down, I think it should look pretty decent. So as always, have a great weekend, guys, and I'm sure I will see you next week. Hopefully be in on Hobby Hangout. Lozzie, if you're still watching, I will be with you in a couple hours to pick you up. We can chill in the shop tonight. Anyway, take care everybody. Bye bye, and see you next week.